And good evening. Today is Friday, May the 17th, and I have to tell you today I just got back from visiting a number of our sick and our homebound, and they're still very much in my mind and in my heart. During these days, um, I am I'm thinking a lot of them, and I'm hoping that we will also. And I was reading something, a quote, if I can find it, from Saint, where is it here? Saint Bernard, you know. And I thought Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, and I thought I would just share that with you tonight. A couple of quotes that I found for Mary, and I would like to have these people remembered in a very special way. The quote is, "When you find yourself tossed by the raging storms on this great sea of life, far from land, keep your eyes fixed on this star to avoid disaster. And when the winds of temptation or the rocks of tribulation threaten, look up to the star, call upon Mary." St. Bernard. So when things aren't going well, when things aren't going well in our life, when sickness comes, or loss of a job, or financial troubles, or relationship troubles, we're being reminded when life is throwing left and right at us to get us off track, trying to get us to throw in the towel, trying to get us to surrender, and to raise our fist to heaven and curse the God who loves us, although sometimes seems distant from us. This is the time to turn to Mary. This is the time to turn to the Mother of God, our Mother. I was thinking of a number of people who are in need of our prayers, who are going through battling terrible sickness in their life at this time. Matt Wilbur, who when I went to see him on Tuesday, just hours before I got there, had been rushed to the hospital. They found he had cancer in several parts of his body, struggling from a fall and bruises that he had taken when he fell. Frank Ealing, who a week ago when I went to see him, found out that he had passed away very suddenly. Who knows what? I think from a broken heart, not having anyone come to see him or visit him, or no family or friends in the area. Difficult, troubled life, and yet someone who was so full of hope and life and faith to the very end. Gloria DeBolt, who I was asked to, not parishioner, but someone who I was asked to visit and was visited her several times, and yet I could see the strength of the personality, the strength of will, and again, great faith. Suffered from that, couldn't breathe, that COPD, you know. John Butler, a recent parishioner, who is in the VA hospital again, having survived a couple of brain surgeries and whatnot, still a man of tremendous joy, tremendous faith. Lenora Stark, who I visited a few times in this last week or so, went from in the church, coming to church, to the hospital, from the hospital to hospice, and was surrounded by her family yesterday when I anointed her and prayed with her, and her loving family. Family who had experienced so much hope and love from their mother, and yet at this time giving that back, responding to that. I kept sharing with them, that Lenora was reaping what she sowed, and so should we all. Ken Spivey Jr., again, visited him in the hospital, been sick for the last 6 years, and hospitalized now at Advent Hospital, in need of our thoughts and prayers. Matt Wilbur, I mentioned Matt, I mentioned Frank, Gloria, John, Alfred Duvaraj. Again, another non-parishioner, someone looking for a priest, asking for someone to pray for them, 69 years married, struggling, but people of great faith and great hope. Mary Ellen Gabriel lost their daughter last year, Mary and Paul. Mary Ellen, whose cancer has come back with a vengeance, and who's been undergoing chemotherapy every day for the last several weeks, certainly starting to take its toll on her. yet a people of good and wonderful faith. So many people need to be thought of and remembered. And what I'm trying to, if I had a word for them, it would be, persist, persevere, endure. Turn to Mary, our mother, When you find yourself tossed by raging storms on this great sea of life, as St. Bernard explained, far from land, keep your eyes fixed on this star to avoid disaster. And when the winds of temptation or the rocks of tribulation threaten, look up to the star and call upon Mary. Mary, our mother. Mary, the help of Christians. Pray for us. Pray for you. Pray for me. Pray for us. God bless you and have a wonderful evening.